So in dealing, feeling, and healing, as the Bible says, you're remapping. You're going to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You're going to get a whole new adult, healthy thought about sex and sexuality. Because as a kid, you were never supposed to try to figure it out. And you didn't have a good teacher. You had an abuser teach you. So now, as an adult, you get to remap and say, no, I may have felt that way as a child, but it's really this. So although you can't go back and change the incident, you can narrate it differently. You can change how you feel about it. And there is a term called retroactive causation in physics where you can literally you can go back. And so God goes back and he heals those parts of you that are not healed today. So God is not in time, so he can go outside of time, and he allows healing when you allow him to go back with you. You get to go back with him as an adult and check on your wounded child and do the work. And know that someone is going to walk with you, and God is going to walk with you, and you are going to walk with you. You get to show up for you, and you get to remap and re-educate. You get to educate. You get to get information on, oh, this is why I'm hypersexual. Oh, this is why I'm hyposexual. This is why I made decisions. This is why I watch pornography. This is why I like sex this way. This is why I like same-sex encounters. You get to get information. You get to get the why answered so that you can begin to choose according to your will and not according to your child. You get to have God's plan introduced to you. And yes, you're going to grieve. You're going to grieve the fact that you were defiled and that you lost your innocence. And then you're going to have a rebirth. Part of the grieving process is getting to the end and having the rebirth, but allowing and validating the loss first, and then getting to the place where you can be reborn and you can still experience purity and sexuality and sex. And that is a part of your healing process where you will have to decide if you want to denounce immorality, because we're habitual. Sometimes we like what we like, and sometimes we begin to use sex for entertainment, for anxiety, for depression, when we don't feel good, when we feel lonely. We start to use sex for all these things. But when you begin to get information, then you're going to be accountable as to, are you willing to denounce this old way of thinking and being? And for some people, they're not willing to. They just kind of would rather say, I was born this way, I'm going to be this way. And they choose their sexual immorality. And some people don't. Some people do. Some people don't like change. Some people are so uncomfortable with change that they're not willing to faith it and remap and do the work. And it is work, remapping and doing the work. And it is something that will challenge you and that you may need accountability and support systems, which is fine. And that's what therapy does. And so it is going to find you. You do get information on how to walk in morality. And so the beautiful thing is that you'll have two paths. You'll have the path of immorality, and then you'll be introduced to the path of sexual morality. And then you will learn, you already know how to walk in immorality, but then you will learn how to walk in morality. And then you begin to see the fruit of walking in sexual morality, the way God designed it. And you'll be able to teach other people how not to do it. And you'll have those replacement behaviors. And then, you'll also get to look at other issues connected to your sexual abuse, like why I drink, why I have low self-esteem. When you start to get to the root of it, which is the sexual trauma, it will open the door for you to deal with any addiction, any substance abuse, any personality problems you might have, attachment issues, trusting people. It just comes alongside and affords you a more stable lifestyle. For people of faith, these things are in the way of you really experiencing God the way you're supposed to. And part of that is because you won't let God touch that part. You have to really ask yourself, am I allowing God to touch this? Do I have unrealistic expectations about God touching this? Do I feel like God's just supposed to heal me, take away stuff without my participation? Because after all, I'm innocent. I didn't do anything. So why do I have to do the work? Check your expectations, because this is something that's going to require God's participation, your participation, and professional and the communities and your, the people you trust participation. And you have to decide very early, are you going to allow God to step in? Are you willing, and are you willing to get the skills that make you able? Because sometimes people are not willing and able. But the goal is, if you're willing in treatment, you can, get the knowledge so that you can be able and you can hold yourself accountable. The accountability piece. Some people like to stay the victim, but you got to think, if you stay the victim, then you have to pay the cost. It's not free. You have to have depression, anxiety, negative thinking, probably sexual immorality, all of those things, just to hold on to the feeling that someone owes you, and to memorialize your pain, and to validate your pain and express your pain through your behavior. There's another way to express your pain, and it is through communication and not your behavior. And once you do that, after you express your pain, the objective is just not to express your pain through behavior or through speech, but to find a solution. You have to go from just expressing your pain, living your pain, to supporting yourself. And there is a way to support yourself. Healing is scary. You will lose some secondary gain, because in secondary gain, some people like the attention of being the victim. Some people like to hold other people accountable, and you feel like, if I heal, then that person just gets away with it. And that's not true. God has a justice system, and he will take care of the people who harmed you. But you get to worry about yourself. Holding grudges is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Healing work and forgiveness, all of that, is going to be something that benefits you and glorifies God. And so I want to encourage you. It takes courage, as I encourage you, to make a decision on if you want to be healed. And that's one of the questions that Jesus asked the man at the pool, because it's so important. You would think that people go to therapy. You would think that people living with trauma, sexual trauma, would want to be healed. Everybody don't want to be healed. It works for them. It works for them. Some people love it. The Bible says men love darkness because their deeds are evil, rather than light because their deeds are evil. Some people have fallen in love with sexual immorality, and they don't want to change. Some people would rather live duplicitous lives where they preach and they're sexually immoral. They sing and they're sexually immoral because they think they can do both. And they think that they have a right to do both, right? Because they're the victim. They have the right to act out what has been acted onto them. Some people don't want to be healed. And that's why Jesus asked that pointed question: do you want to be healed? That's the biggest part of the recovery, is your want to, the willingness, because if you are willing, God is able. And of course, your child wants to, and you have to decide, do I want my child healed? Or do I want to be mad and vengeful and focus on the exploitation and the abuse? Or do I want my child healed? Those are hard questions. I won't go into it too much, because that would be something you're going to have to deal with in therapy. Because even if you weren't abused as a child, your child being abused will bring up emotions in you that you need to regulate with a professional, so that you don't hinder your child's recovery and be a stumbling block on their journey. This is hard work. And this is why last week, or the first session of this last month's playlist, we talked about how it's just preventative and how to become a protector, because the aftermath is a lot. And some people deal with this for decades and decades. And like I said, it doesn't go away until you deal with it. It is the monster under the bed. It won't go away till you lift the mattress up or you look under the bed and you face it and you begin to deal with it as an adult, and you begin to set up support and information to help you be safe and to feel safe. Prevention, they say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. But there is a cure, but we want to focus on the prevention as well. I hope this has helped someone to just think about it. Just be willing to consider your life healed. Consider your life whole. Consider your life the way God designed it. And yes, while it may be difficult, the journey may be difficult, but taking back your emotions and your peace and your safety and sanity, they already took enough. They already took enough. Now, the way to kind of get the most out of the situation is to heal, is to rise like the phoenix and become more than a conqueror. The Bible talks about becoming more than a conqueror. The healing process allows us to become more than conquerors. I hope this bless you. Please share this with someone. Begin the conversation, but don't end it. There's a lot of work to do. God bless you.